All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined as always by El Commandante Daryl Ortiz on the road to WrestleMania, and a lot of stuff happened on Raw and SmackDown.
It's the mad dash, the 30. It's now we're at the sprint. We were kind of at a casual stroll, just kind of building stuff, and now it's kind of like, all right, let's make it all happen, because it looks like they're trying to really. I'm guessing they're pulling the trigger quickly on a lot of stuff, just because they want to let stuff breathe and build the stories a little bit more. So hopefully that's the case, and not just they're just going to throw random stuff in there. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
Raw was interesting. Opened up with some chaos, of course. Adam Pearce opened the show, calling Seth Rollins out to discuss the ongoing war he has with the Vision. He was told that Seth Rollins wasn't medically clear. That's what he told the Vision, and that's his understanding. And then as he stood in the ring, a bunch of masked figures started appearing at ringside. Okay, so pause. I liked that aspect. However, I get what they're trying to do, and I love Seth Rollins, and I like prefacing all this with, I like this re-entry, if you must, for Seth Rollins, right? What it made me chuckle, I couldn't take it serious when they were trying to do the shuffle, because they were like almost running into each other because it was not coordinated very well. And it's not Seth Rollins' fault. It's not. It's just, he's like, he put the mask on and they're just like, oh. And it's just like,
Where is he? Where is he? Keep your eye on Seth Rollins.
I'm looking, I'm like, there's Seth right there, guys. But I get it. But of course, they fled the ring. Of course, Seth Rollins was there before the Vision could come out and respond. Of course, LA Knight and the Usos came out to the ring. And then that's pretty much the opening there. They were just kind of paying on that. I'm guessing we're going to have some sort of, I don't know, blow off match between them. I'm still not sure how they're going to do it, because the Usos and LA Knight are involved in this, but Seth Rollins, is he cleared? Is he not? That's kind of like the whole deal.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be Austin Theory and Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins LA Knight at WrestleMania. Like when this happened, I was like, oh, they're pushing them all together because we need something for LA Knight to do. Mm-hmm. We need something for Seth Rollins to do. He's going to get medically cleared in time for WrestleMania, but do you want him doing a singles match? And it's like, they're going to just, and then it's Austin Theory and Logan Paul are the only ones really left from the Vision at this point. So as soon as I saw this, I'm like, it's a tag match. It's good. This is how they're going to put it together, which I get it, but it also feels like, gosh, I wish they would do something better with LA Knight. Again, they keep just shoving him into other programs, and he kidnapped Paul Heyman. They haven't really had any resolution with that. I guess Paul Heyman was murdered or something, or he died. I'm not sure where he went after the LA Knight kidnapping, so he's missing out. We'll see if he's on Monday Night Raw. But yeah,
he'll show up on Monday with Brock
Lesnar. Yeah. And he'll act like nothing happened. They're like, hey, wait a second. Like, where did LA Knight take you? Like, we have so many questions. So I'm assuming he'll be out there with Lesnar, just kind of taking over. He's like, he needs something to do for the open challenge thing. But this is all this felt like to me, as the setup for the tag match between these two groups. And it'll be interesting what they do with the Usos, unless they're going to inject the Usos in here and make it like a triple threat for the tag titles, right? Since the Usos are tag champions.
No.
Are the Usos tag champions? Who's tag
champions? MFTs are tag champions.
Oh, MFT. Never mind that. Well, MFT's on SmackDown. So
they're traveling.
Yeah,
the Usos are tag champions. They don't defend them, but
yeah, it's like the Usos are tag champions. So I'm like, for Raw. So that's where I'm thinking, is there an opportunity, like after what happened with CM Punk, is there an opportunity now? Are they going to go, but I can't imagine Seth and LA Knight like siding with CM Punk on this. So
no,
we'll see how they move it around, because that's the only way I feel like the Usos get involved is you make a triple threat for the tag.
I mean, I'm intrigued. Obviously, I'm intrigued to see it. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, but I mean, they've got a few weeks to figure it out. But like you said, they're kind of rushing everything. So we'll find out on Monday probably where this is going.
Yeah, we definitely will. After that, we had the Women's Intercontinental #1 Contender Gauntlet. We had Lyra Valkyria, Raquel Rodriguez, Io Sky, Ivy Nile, Asuka, and Bayley, the latter of which was your winner, Bayley. And I'm very happy with that. Long overdue. I mean, she spent nearly a year in that creative limbo where, she had so many different things back and forth. And now she's finally getting the match. Now, this is going to be a good story because they're two women who defined the women's wrestling era, their own individual women's era, right? Like Bailey was part of the Four Horsewomen to really push women's wrestling above and beyond where it's at. AJ Lee kind of kicked that off with, there was like that transition from the butterfly title to like the actual women's title, which I thought was awesome. So it's going to be a very, very interesting match. I'm excited to see it. I just don't know who I'm going to go for now because I like both. So
Well, I'm excited to see it too, but I'm preemptively disappointed because I get that gut feeling as because it's going to be on Monday. Is they're not holding this until WrestleMania. It's going to
mhm.
be on Monday. That they already did last week. It was Becky Lynch is out sick, but she's tweeting because she's angry. I'm like, don't have Becky Lynch run down and
She
in the
probably
whole thing in
is.
a DQ. And this is what I expect will happen. They'll do a
And it'd be
rundown
a
and then
triple
a
threat.
DQ and then triple threat at WrestleMania, which just feels a little weak and pretty easily called and kind of predictable. But I think the match leading up to the bad finish and the DQ finish will probably be pretty good. It'll be good and it'll be enjoyable, and then we'll get some flat finish that helps everybody save face.
Yep. But after that, we had a little backstage segment, a little Danhausen action
Yeah,
with the original Grande Americano. And he was trying to pitch that they form a tag team, make double the human monies, blew him off. And so he cursed him. And we're like, oh, that means he's going to lose, right? Because that's what
yeah,
happened with Dom or whatever. Actually, no, the match started and it was actually El Grande Americano,
Megan.
Kaiser's version, not
Yeah,
Chad Gable's version. So it was actually really, really cool to see because then they're like, what happened with the original? And it's like, well, he got cursed. So I love it because now we have no idea what the hell happened to him. And I'm curious as to what happened to him, but I thought that was awesome. Penta is, of course, retained as an Intercontinental Champion in a good match. I really enjoyed the match, and I love Penta. I love Penta, and I love this for him. I think this is awesome. So I liked every bit of it. There was really, I feel like the bigger story is going to be what comes for Penta at WrestleMania because I don't see him not defending the title at WrestleMania. So I'm curious. I don't know if Dom will get a rematch or I don't know what's going to happen because we have the Finn Balor story that came up after this. But
after this, yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, so I don't know to be honest. But what did you think of the match?
Yeah, the match was really good. Match was probably match of the night for
Yeah,
me. Penta hit the springboard
that was
Mexican
amazing.
Destroyer, which was really, really cool. Which is it's almost becoming like the RKO out of nowhere where he's doing different things with it from different
Yeah.
positions in the ring. So that's really cool. I hope that they give Penta a long IC title run with a lot of defenses. We'll see. He's kind of weird about that. We'll see what happens if they go into WrestleMania, especially if they do something that's like a fatal four way for the IC title, and we'll see as things, because I feel like, and we'll talk about it right now, kind of with everything that happened with Finn Balor, they're clearly setting up something for Dom versus Finn in some manner at
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania. And whether that be they're all vying for the Intercontinental title in a fatal four way, we'll see, or if they just do a separate kind of blow off match between those two. But this I thought was really, really good. I also appreciate the fact that now kind of the way that they had this happen with the original Grande Americano getting replaced by the imposter one due to the curse. It's like the curse from Danhausen isn't just that you're going to lose matches. It can kind of mean anything. And they continue that on into SmackDown as well. And it's kind of cool that he's just going back and forth between both shows. He's not really
I
signed with
love it.
anybody.
Yeah.
So these are fun segments, and he's getting a lot of face time and really getting over with the fans. So that was cool too.
He is, and I also saw a little segment. I guess it didn't air. It didn't air on
And yeah,
Netflix.
it was between. I think it was during the commercial break with the
Yeah, it
fans,
was.
right?
He was out there giving out T-shirts, and my favorite part, I think it was on SmackDown or Raw. I can't remember which one it was, but he was like they're talking, and some guy was like, "You suck," and he's like, "You're cursed," and he kept going like, and, yes. And of course, shout out. That's why I'm wearing the shirt. Good old our buddy Gino over there being
Gino.
the T-shirt guy in
Yeah,
Phoenix on SmackDown, handing out the T-shirts to the fans. He was giving
that's
away the
right.
T-shirts because
Shout
he
out to
is
Gino, hardest
number
working
one,
man in independent wrestling. Gino, he
right?
is everywhere.
That man is everywhere. Shout out to you, Gino. Keep working, brother. But yeah, after that, we had Finn Balor, actually, Dom confronted Finn Balor about costing him the IC title.
Yeah.
Balor admitted that it was deliberate. He claimed he spent years trying to teach him, help him become the best Mysterio of all time. But he said after all this time, he realized Rey Mysterio was right. Dom was just a spoiled brat. who was handed everything and earned nothing. So of course that prompted them to like jump him. So they jumped him and they just beat him down, laid him out. It took long enough, but it finally happened. So we got Finn Balor breaking off of the Judgment Day. So officially, all three original members of Judgment Day, or all four original members of Judgment Day, are no longer
Gone.
members of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
That being, of course, Edge, who created it. Of course, you had Rhea, Finn Balor now, and of course, Damian Priest. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they're all
They're
out
all
of it.
gone.
But
And then it seems like, and this is like par for the course of the Judgment Day. It's at some point you're going to get beaten up and kicked out of it.
yeah.
So all the rest of the remaining members of the Judgment Day, just keep that in mind. You know, whoever has the most tenure at this point is probably going to get beat down by everybody else, which I think is Dom at this point, probably.
Yeah.
But this was a good segment, but I did feel like, wow, you guys are pulling the trigger on a lot of this stuff now. Like that's what this episode just felt like. Okay, you've been teasing these things for a long. They've been teasing the fallout with Finn and the WC for a long time, probably for like
Yeah.
a year. And the fact that they pulled all the triggers with this, and then obviously we'll talk about the CM Punk segment later on with the Usos. It just felt like you're really doing all of this now. It's like we got to cash all these chips in now because we're going to build it to WrestleMania at this point versus waiting a little bit longer versus maybe doing it at WrestleMania. So it just felt like a very eventful episode of them trying to tie up all of these loose ends.
Yeah. And I think I'm hoping, I guess that's what I was trying. I guess that's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, I'm hoping that this means that they're just really wanting to like build on the story itself.
Yeah,
That's why they're having it start now. So I'm hoping that's the case because now they have
I
like a
hope so.
solid month to like build. And I hope it's not just like, oh, let's just pull the triggers and then nothing happens and then we'll just rush at the end like we always do. But I'm hoping it's the former, not the latter.
Well,
But
and speaking of Rush though, because after this we got Obafemi versus Rusev, and we were
yeah,
talking about this last week,
I was
and I
hoping that
was
was a
like,
mania. But
yeah, I know. It's like Daryl was talking about, hey, it's a mania. They're going to build to it, and then it was like, oh, by the way,
yeah.
Obafemi,
So I
it's
have a theory
tonight.
on that. Before we get to that one, though, backstage, something I just want to note: we had
Yeah, yeah.
Kofi Kingston trying to recruit
Oh, that's
Javon
right.
Evans to the New Day because, of course,
Yeah,
Xavier Woods is hurt. He apologized to him, sees a younger version of himself, and of course, trying to get him to recruit. So slow build. He didn't jump at the first offer, but he is thinking about it, and
yeah,
so we'll see what happens with that. Kofi being a mentor figure kind of helps a little bit, I guess, because Kofi's a vet, and I can see what they're trying to do there. But we'll see what really happens before WrestleMania, or if Evan stays, as a solo guy. But we'll see what happens with that. But you're right. After that, we had Obafemi versus Rusev, which I was a little disappointed in, but it was a good match. It was a very anticipated match to see who finally wins the showdown at this point. But then I remembered Brock Lesnar still needs a challenger for WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be
yeah.
Obafemi.
Well, I think so too. I agree with. So this is what was interesting. It was a competitive match, but it was pretty short. And Obafemi did hit the fall from grace one pretty clean. So, but it was almost like, man, like you had something here that would come in really cool that you built with Rusev, and then you were like, wait a second, like, did you guys forget that you were building towards Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? And you're like, never mind, hold on, let's just bail out of this so that we can line up Obafemi for another match. That felt like a lost opportunity, and I don't understand how they couldn't have realized WrestleMania is right around the corner. That you're going to kind of tease this big rivalry between him and Rusev, and we really got nothing out of it. And if they do pivot to him versus Lesnar at WrestleMania, the rumor has it that Brock Lesnar's already said that he is not going to lose again until his retirement. So, and that he'll lose his final match, but he is not putting anybody else over until he retires.
Mm.
And so that's what they were talking about. At WrestleMania, it's either going to be LA Knight or Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, and with Brock Lesnar winning. And I'm like, that's gonna suck. If they really do that
Well,
and they put Obafemi against him and they have him beat Obafemi, it's like, come on, dude. Like I think it would be great to have Obafemi go over Lesnar, but I'm worried about them kind of bowing to his ego. And I don't think Lesnar's going to retire at WrestleMania. Like he is 40, 47, 48 years old.
something like that.
Yeah, he's around the same age as John Cena.
48. Yeah, he's 48.
Yeah, he's 48. So he's the same age as Cena. I would hope he'd be close to calling it a career. I hope he doesn't go over Obafemi. I
Yeah,
really, really hope at this point, like Oba needs to rub more than Lesnar does. So that feels like a terrible mistake if
I
they
really
match them
do agree.
together and Femi loses.
Yeah. I agree just because it's maybe But then what might happen instead is, what if you have Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi? They work each other over, and then Rusev, out of anger, causes a DQ.
Yeah. I
Technically,
mean,
Brock Lesnar
yeah.
would win.
I mean, you could, but it's
I mean, it's
also
gonna
like,
suck, but I
oh,
mean,
that
I
would
feel
suck
like
too,
that.
because it's like, you can't just commit.
Well, which is the lesser of two evils? Would you rather have Brock win cleanly against Obafemi the way they're building him, or would you rather have a DQ where they kind of both look strong and then that's it?
Rather have Obafemi win. That's
I
what
the
I would
same,
rather do. I mean,
same. But
but this is also what WWE likes to do, though. They like to back you into a corner and go, "Well, really? Did you want him to lose?" And it was like, "Well, no, but you could have made the right decision here and let him go over Lesnar. Like, you don't get to say there's only two choices. There's more. You could do it. Granted, I think there's truth to the, hey, if you're stuck with one of these, which one would you rather be stuck with? Well, sure. I don't want to see Obafemi lose, but man, I wish that they would just do the right thing. And Lesnar's at the point of his career, he doesn't need it. He doesn't lose mystique by losing to Obafemi. So I don't understand why he wouldn't put him over. I really don't. And maybe this is all a ruse and they floated that out there so that people will be surprised when
I'm
Obafemi
about to
wins.
say maybe it's just a work,
Maybe. I mean, we'll see.
because
We'll
Brock's
we'll
always been
see.
about doing business
Yeah.
properly. That's something I've always given Brock credit for. Is he will do business as needed, and he understands how the business works. But I don't know. We'll see.
We'll
After
see.
that, we had CM Punk in the ring to kind of talk trash to Roman Reigns, who wasn't there, and to address the whole bury him next to his father line from the last week. And of course, the Usos came out before anyone else could. They confronted CM Punk. Jey Uso specifically was more amped up about it. Tell him it was disrespectful to their family. He took things too far, and then he told him to apologize. And CM Punk thought about it, thought about it. Then, in a very heel maneuver,
Yeah.
CM Punk says that he apologizes, but it's more because of them and all this. He just kind of went on, did one of those like, "I am sorry for your cousin," and this and that. And it's like, no, like it was a terrible apology, but it wasn't an
Yeah.
apology, and resulted in, of course, the Usos hit attack, pretty much hitting him
Yeah.
and walking away. So I don't know if they're, like, you were talking about the tag titles at WrestleMania, but I'm like, they seem pretty heavily invested in this story already.
Yeah. Well, and this is where I'm just trying to figure out what's the purpose here. Because it almost felt like, are you trying to make CM Punk the heel for this? Because that was very heelish.
They
Of
are. Yeah, they
you
are.
already had the dead father thing, which
Yeah.
was a very heel thing to say. Then you have him like doubling down and saying like, "I'm sorry that your cousins gaslighted you so much," and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, come on, man. So, and it was even the point where I think the crowd was not quite sure
They didn't know
how
how
to
to feel about
respond
it.
to it
Yeah.
either, how to feel it either. And so it's like they feel like they were really working hard to make CM Punk the heel on this one, which is gonna be tough. I feel like it's gonna be
You're better off
tough
having
because
Roman.
yeah, I think they'd be better off having, and is this, are they trying to kind of reestablish the bloodline a little bit and get the Usos reunited with Roman so he's not alone anymore? I don't know. Like, we'll see how this transpires over the next couple of weeks, but it did feel like they were kind of testing the waters to see what they could do with a heel turn,
Yeah.
which is similar to what they did in the final segment on SmackDown.
Only
Like this,
difference is they fully pulled that one,
they
but
fully invested in that one, but I don't think it went the way that they thought it would. So
yeah.
I'll put it. But yeah, that was
That
Raw.
was
And
Raw, essentially.
that was
Yeah.
Raw.
And that's how it ended, which was kind of awkward and off. It felt kind of weird. We had CM Punk just kind of there. So, I mean, that was essentially it. And granted, this was a very, very packed Raw with a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on. So great to see that. But yeah, this was a lot to take in. But
Yeah.
SmackDown was similar.
SmackDown was very similar, and it started
Yeah.
off with Drew McIntyre storming down to the ring, calling out Nick Aldis to make things right, and based off what happened
Which
last
again,
week. And
he
Nick,
has a valid point.
he does. Like I will go back to this. I was like, 100%. Drew McIntyre is totally correct on this. Cody Rhodes lost at the Rumble and he lost that Elimination Chamber and he still got a title shot and they didn't do the right thing and Jacob interfered and that's what cost him the title, and so he should do the right thing. And of course Nick's like, there's nothing to make right, and that he won fair and square, which obviously he didn't. And so this is where I'm like, okay, I again, I'm on Drew's side here. Drew has been continually getting screwed. That's the one thing with continuity with Drew McIntyre is that they really have kind of screwed him over. And then you had Jacob's music. So Jacob's music hit and he came down and said, you know, hey, fix what? Basically, you wouldn't have been champ if it wasn't for me, which I'm like, I don't agree with that either because he was like on his way out the door when Jacob came down and interfered anyways. So technically
Yeah.
Drew would have won without him. But anyway, we had talked about that before. So they jawed back and forth and essentially Drew stormed out and quit. And he's like, that's it. I'm out of here. I quit. I'm leaving. And like he's quit SmackDown. And then as soon as this happened, I was like, well, this absolutely set the table for what you talked about, which was they're clearly going to have a match between Jacob and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Obviously, clearly what happened later because you ended up having Jacob Fatu versus Trick Williams as the main event that got kind of built up and there was interference from Drew in that one. We'll talk about that little bit more in depth, but you were right as usual. This is just setting up them facing off at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it really was, and that's what's kind of interesting about it is that you know I when the way he quit kind of made me understand like yeah this is not going to be a for real quit because obviously because no one first of all no one in WWE actually quits like that except for Brett
No,
except for
no,
Bret Hart did that but outside of that right I mean it doesn't happen first of all as a longtime wrestling fan you know that but
yeah.
second of all like it's not in character of Drew to like step down from a challenge. He just needed the upper hand in this one, right? So, but I do like the story that they're keeping going. That he has a legitimate point of frustration because it's not the first time this has happened to him. It's constant, and he made a very valid point in the beginning where the agreement was Cody no longer got any more title shots. He had to start from the beginning, and he lost the Rumble, he lost the Elimination Chamber, so he doesn't get it. And I know Nick Aldis was trying to say, well, you know,
Like you violated things a
you
lot.
did too, which I get that, but at the same time, it's like we all know Cody tends to win everything. Case in point, that's why he is the champion right now.
Yeah,
And so I guess that's him kind of making sure of it.
yeah.
But that being said, of course, I know this is just a build for Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, which would be a great match at Mania,
Yeah,
personally. But
it'll be a great match, but honestly, it should be Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre
it
for the
should.
title at WrestleMania. It really should. Like I'm not super looking forward to Orton versus Rhodes. May depending, and we'll talk about this as we get a little bit later on, depending on how they play it. But after this, we got the MFTs, doing the whole guard. I like the fact Solo's like handing the lantern to Tamatonga and like, guard this with your life. Don't let anything happen to it. And then he just sticks it on the ring apron and it's like, all right, peace. I was
All
like,
right, there it is. Let's go.
what happened to guarding this thing with your life? You just like ditched it on the ring apron and walked away. But we got a match. It was a non-title match, which they had to specify, which was Talatonga and Solo Sokoa taking on Rowan and Uncle Howdy in a non-title match
Hmm.
for the SmackDown tag titles. And then during the match, of course, the lantern that was supposed to be getting guarded with Tama's life was just sitting there. And Nikki Cross walks over and just picks it up and is like, "Hey, I've got the lantern," which created enough of a distraction for Uncle Howdy to hit the sister Abigail on Solo and get the pin to win. And then she's like, "Here," and hands the lantern to Uncle Howdy, and he's like, "I've got it." And then he gets taken out with a cutthroat from Tamatonga, who was on guard duty, and then all of a sudden realized that he was on guard duty for the lantern and managed to grab it back. So the MFTs continue to walk around with the lantern. I want to say like clearly at this point the Wyatt Six should have this lantern back. Like just watch your back. Next time you grab the lantern, just one of your 50 guys can turn around and make sure nobody else swipes it from Uncle Howdy. This story should be done pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean,
A little more situational awareness, I think, would help.
it's kind of it's reminding me of back when the urn for the Undertaker was taken,
Yeah.
and that was But I think this is all just to build again for Mania. I feel we're gonna have the blow off match. We're gonna have a lantern on a pole mat. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna have the lantern up at top, like in the ladder match
Yeah, hang
eventually,
the lantern, yeah, for like a ladder match, and then they get it and
which would
win.
be amazing because they should have the entirety of the Wyatt Six, including Nikki Cross going up against all of the MFTs. I think that would
MFTs.
be a great match and
Yeah.
make it a ladder match so that way they can vie for the lantern because it'd be a cool visual to see the lantern up top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be a very cool visual, and then they could do some neat stuff with it. Yeah, I
Oh
hope
yeah,
they're building to something that's that fun. Watch it just be like another tag
a
match. It'll be like
one-on-one match between
one
Solo and Uncle
Solo
Howdy.
and Uncle Howdy, yeah, and it'll be like, "Oh, really?" It's like, yeah, do something creative because there's the capacity to do something really creative and cool with
Yeah.
this, but
Well,
we'll
especially
see.
with the seeds of doubt being laid into Tamatanga with Shinsuke.
Shinsuke Nakamura, yeah, which they continue to tease on that as well, with Shinsuke getting in his head a little bit, and we'll see. I don't know if they're gonna really pull the trigger here and have him betray the MFTs,
I
but
don't think
we'll
he'll
see.
turn on them, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know that they'll actually do it because they like to tease things and then just drop it. But we'll see. And then after this, we got Jade Cargill versus Meechin in another non-title match. There's a lot of non-title matches, and this was a very competitive match too, which is odd for you have Jade Cargill billed as this dominant champion struggling against. I'm going to just say it, a mid Carter who's coming off a 3 month layoff because Meechin hasn't competed in 3 months. So you've got 3 month layoff, you've got ring rust, you're coming back from an injury, and then it was like a super competitive match. Jade, of course, did eventually hit the Jaded and won, and then just called out Rhea Ripley and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania, basically." And then Rhea's music hit. Surprised she was actually there and came down for a surprise face off, and then basically said she was going to beat her at WrestleMania in some not so friendly language. And that was it. Like it was kind of like, hey, we'll see each other in a month kind
Hmm.
of thing. But it was
That
fine.
Yeah, it was a fine match. I also don't understand why that means, that I don't know that Michin shouldn't have been a very competitive match. That should have
Yeah,
been, and I like Michin. I really do. I've always liked
totally.
Michin,
Yeah.
and I think she's great. But I don't see it as competitive. Jade's the monster heel. Like she should have just like destroyed her, and it would have been a much better angle for her to kind of go overboard on the beatdown, and then Rhea Ripley come out to like stop
Yeah.
her. That would.
Well, and it's one thing if Meechin had been like super active and like,
Yeah, but
having a
she's
lot
this
of
is her
great
first match
matches.
back.
Match back after a 3 month layoff from injury, and it's like, man, she's this competitive. Like this that felt a little weird.
And yes, I know Michin can wrestle very well. I know she's a great wrestler. She is. Obviously, she wouldn't be there if she wasn't. But this isn't about that. This is your champion who's being built as a monster and unstoppable. I mean, she took out Jordan Grace almost with ease a little bit there. So I mean,
Yeah,
what does that say about Jordan Grace and Michin that, like that's
yeah.
kind of like
I mean, that's a
that's
great
kind of
point too, because Jordan Grace is built as like this kind of monster face to be able to counter Jade Cargill, and their match wasn't even close to as competitive as this one.
no.
But yeah, it's interesting. And then after this, we had that awkward Cody Rhodes and Sami Zayn. I apologize. I'm sorry. I love you, man. I don't, but I'm gonna accidentally disrespect the conversation. That they keep going back to this, and I'm like, it is the tease because afterwards, Sammy's just like yelling because it's like I
They need to
can't say
stop
the right
leaving water
thing.
bottles around Sami Zayn because there's always a water bottle nearby Sami Zayn to throw off of a container.
But yeah, to for him to lose it on. Well, and this is where I'm like, okay, they're clearly trying, and then you have Aleister Black just pop up to go devil on the shoulder thing with Sami Zayn. So they're clearly telegraphing like a Sami Zayn heel turn of all things for him to kind of
I
snap
wouldn't
and lose
mind
it.
it if he teamed up with Aleister Black.
Yeah, well, it feels like they're trying to. Hey, they're going to become like partners in
Like
this.
that's the
They're going to
catalyst
kind
to
of
turn him
become
heel.
proteges. Yeah, so but you had this continuation of that, and then after this, you had Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Irresistible Forces in a tag title match. This one, the titles were actually on the line on this one, which was nice because we had a bunch of non-title matches.
Were they though?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll let
as
you
as
do
soon
it
as soon as Nikki and Brie walked out, because it's like you had Alexa and Charlotte walk
because
out, and then
they're in
yeah, Nikki
Phoenix.
and
So of course the Bella Twins are there. It's
so
a
of course
convenient drive for them.
it's the hometown heroes, and then they come down like in between the introductions and just go, "Hey, we're in Phoenix," and like even the fact that they were the hometown heroes, like the crowd wasn't really reacting all that much to them, and they're like, "We're just letting you know we're next in line," and I wanted to be like, "Why? You guys haven't wrestled as a tag team in like over a decade. Why would you cut to the front of the line now?" Over all the other women's tag teams that have been established, and you're next in line, so you're here to scout the competition of who you're going to be facing for the tag titles next. So that whole thing was dumb, and I'm like, great. So it's going to be WrestleMania. It's going to be the Bella Twins versus, I guess, it's going to be a triple threat.
Well, no, they have don't they have a title match next week? And but I'm sure Charlotte and
Yeah,
Alexa can
Charlotte
probably
and Alexa are going
interfere.
to cost them for it, and then we're going to get a triple threat tag match.
Well, because that's how
It's a
they'll
blow
save the
off.
Bellas from long time on the shelves, not wrestling.
Yeah,
So
But and the match is so the match started while they were scouting this, and the match was fine. And then you had, while Nia and Charlotte were brawling outside, Nia pulled, I think it was Nikki. I don't know if it was Nikki or Brie. They look exactly the same, and I wasn't paying that much attention to who was who. But I think she pulled Nikki in front of a super kick from Charlotte. And so then after that, the Bellas entered the ring, and then Alexa was about to hit the Twisted Bliss to get the win and win the titles, and they started brawling with Nia and Lash, and the whole thing ended in a DQ, which is stupid, but it was kind of obvious. So yeah, titles didn't change hands, even though they were just about gonna.
Uh-huh.
And like you said, they're gonna have a match against the Irresistible Forces, which means we're gonna get Charlotte and Alexa messing with that one, which that one will end in DQ. And WrestleMania will set up a triple threat between these teams as a blow off, and we'll see what happens. I hope to God that they don't put the titles on the Bella Twins.
They will.
But
They will.
they totally will. It's like we showed up and won tag titles at WrestleMania after we said we were going to, and it was gonna be like, oh no, please stop having part timers win. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a fan of this at all. I was this was ridiculous, and it's funny because right when I was like, when they were like, "Oh, we're live here from Phoenix," and I was like, "Oh man!" Again, I living in Phoenix, I like the scenic shots because then it reminds me of all the stuff out there. But
Yeah,
I was like, I was thinking to myself, I'm shocked the Bella Twins aren't there. And then sure enough, on cue, music hits, and I'm like,
yeah. They're like, I spoke
they're
too
like the
soon,
new Joe Hendry. You just say their name and
and
they
they
appear.
appear. But unlike Joe Hendry, like I'm actually happy when Joe Hendry appears. I
Yeah,
get excited
same.
when Joe Hendry pops up. When the Bellas pop
Same.
up, I'm like, oh no, like
And
not
it's not that
not
I don't
this
like the
again.
Bella Twins. I mean, obviously I grew up in that era, listening, watching all that good stuff, but they never really could wrestle. I mean, Brie a little bit more than Nikki because obviously I know Daniel Bryan showed her a lot and helped her, and she took it more serious because her solo run was way better. I feel than Nikki's, and I know Nikki had the titles, but it was really just more because Nikki, for
Was
lack of a
dating
better
John Cena.
term, Nikki fit Vince's mold a little bit more than Brie, and I'll leave it at
Well, and
that.
she was also
But
dating John Cena and had more pull. Like
yeah,
think of who has more pull with Vince, John Cena or Daniel Bryan. That'll tell you everything you need to know. Daniel
yeah,
Bryan, who needed the yes movement to keep himself employed and to get himself into a title shot because Vince just wasn't having it, versus Super Cena, who wins all the time in spite of what the fans think. So, like, yeah, well, what one of those two had way more pull with Vince.
yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. But I'm with you. I hope they don't put the tag titles on them. I don't think they've earned that, to be honest with you, because I can't see them as credible tag champions because they can't stand toe to toe with a lot of these current women tag teams. Honestly, I mean, they can't. So
Well, they can't. And speaking of tag teams that can't really stand toe to toe with a lot of tag teams, but for some reason they are, Damian Priest and R-Truth versus Los Garza was after this. And this is interesting because they've already solidified, they won the tag team gauntlet. So they already solidified their tag title match against the MFTs. That's going to be coming up. I don't know if I think it's scheduled for next week, or it's not going to, I don't think they're going to hold all the way to WrestleMania, but
no,
they're number one contenders. And basically, they went out here and beat Los Garza relatively easily. Did their usual, they did that double, like in stereo, as they like to call it, South of Heaven and Attitude Adjustment, and won. And again, I go back to Los Garza, which is a great tag team and is a long established tag team, getting beaten by a guy in his 50s and another guy who's primarily been a singles wrestler. It's just like, what are we doing here? Like Damian Priest and R-Truth is fun, but for me, this is just kind of disrespectful to like all really established good tag teams. And that tells me that they are going to win the titles too.
yeah.
Which it's like, well, then why even have a tag division? Why even have committed tag team wrestlers if you're going to do stuff like this and say these mishmash of stars that we're going to put together are more competent tag teams than the guys who have been doing this primarily for their career? It's just a bummer. Also because I think Los Garza is really great and it's nice to see them because they disappeared for a while and it's nice to see them back on SmackDown, but not jobbing out to other guys.
Yeah, and it's a shame because during the same night you had a segment with the Motor City Machine Guns, another
Yeah.
amazing, well-established tag team who should be in this mix. Which I know they were in the Gauntlet and all that. They lost to those guys. That's fine, but I don't like you have them walking around backstage like just doing a segment with Johnny
Doing something with
Gargano.
Johnny Gargano is, yeah, doing this pass out thing, which
Yeah,
they're trying to be like, is there going to be a fallout because of Johnny Gargano, because Gargano cost them the tag titles against DIY when he turned on them? and now it's causing like this inner turmoil where the Motor City Machine Guns might break up. And it's like, come on, we don't need that.
I know. But yeah, case in point, it's just there's other tag teams out there that could be doing this, and they have a makeshift one holding it down. But I will say that obviously, yes, this does mean that they're likely going to win the tag titles, which
Yeah,
also means that maybe it's going to build on with MFTs. Maybe they will lose the tag titles because maybe the Wyatt Six will intervene somehow, some way to distract them. And because they're so caught up with the lantern, they're going to drop the tag titles to R-Truth and Damian Priest. And then that'll free it up to have an all or nothing match at Mania for the lantern itself. And then they're likely going to lose that because they're going to give the lantern back to the Wyatt Six eventually. And then that will be the catalyst to push Tamatanga over with Shinsuke.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think all that would make sense, but that might make a little too much sense there.
Yeah.
El Commandante. So we'll see. We'll see. After this, we got the weekly Danhausen segment with Danhausen
Heck
and The
yeah.
Miz, which was fun stuff, where he wanted to create his own show called Good Night Hausen, and then to replace Miz TV, and then Miz said no, and so he cursed him, and then went because the next segment was going to be Miz TV with Jelly Roll, and so we went out. The mic wasn't working initially, and so it was like, oh, okay. So he cursed him. He had problems with the mic not working. He had to get a second mic. So they do like the little subtle thing
Mm-hmm.
where it wasn't like he didn't come out for the segment at all. Then basically the Miz is trying to take credit for Jelly Roll's 250-pound weight loss because he inspired him, which of course Jelly Roll wasn't having any of that. And they job back and forth pretty well. And this is where I'll also say Jelly Roll's so great on these promos
Yeah.
that like this whole segment was really fun with them going back and forth because Jelly Roll gets so passionate, but he also really knows how to talk on the mic.
Yeah.
He obviously has great presentation skills. So
Yeah.
this was all really good stuff. And then Kit Wilson interrupted and said that, which was, that's what cracked me up, where everyone thought he was going to say toxic when he was like Jelly Roll. And he goes, Jelly Roll is fat phobic because he lost the 250 pounds, and then called him toxic after that. And then Jelly Roll took a swing and accidentally knocked out the Miz. So that was the other part of the curse as well. The Miz got knocked out on Miz TV and that segment. So all of this was really fun. It was really good stuff. Jelly
Liked it.
Roll's really good at everything that he does, including I was impressed just with the in-ring work that because he really did commit himself
Yeah, he
when he
did.
did his matches.
Yeah.
He really committed himself to it. So as much as I generally dislike a lot of the celebrity cameo stuff, I always like the stuff from Jelly Roll because he gives it like 100% when he
Yeah,
goes
he
out
takes it serious. Well, it's mainly because he's legitimately a fan, just like Bad
there. Yeah,
Bunny. Right? I think Bad Bunny kind of set the tone for celebrity appearances, and he took it so serious, and now he's in on it 100%. And he would commit himself to it. Jelly Roll did the same thing. He was getting work in with the Undertaker and with other trainers as well to prior to his match, and he took it very serious. And because again, these individuals are true fans. It's not somebody looking to endorse their show or push their product or push anything like it used to be back then. Because back then you only get a celebrity come out when it benefited them, in terms of upcoming show or concert or CD release or movie release or something like that. The only other person I will say I'll put up to takes it serious as well is oh my god, and his name has just slipped my mind right now. It's
Bad Bunny.
no, Bad Bunny is I did name Bad Bunny, but it's Bad Bunny, Jelly Roll. Damn it, Green Arrow,
Oh, I
and
know what you're talking about.
um, and he also did the show Heels.
Yeah, I know you're
Which
talking about. I don't know why his name is slipping
dang
my
it,
mind
why
either, but
can't?
I know
Okay,
who you're
I'm sorry.
talking.
Hold on, that's not fair. I can't do that to him because he is awesome. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know it is. Like
Yeah,
I know it is. Good thing we have the internet.
the Green Arrow actor heels.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't want to see that. I want to see. There we go. It is Stephen Amell.
Yeah,
Jesus,
Stephen Amell. There you go.
Jesus. Yes, thank you. Sorry, but I loved it because he also does the show Heels, and obviously that came after the fact. But he would actually wrestle in AEW as well, and he took it very
Yeah,
serious. He actually trained for it and everything, which I greatly appreciate. So, yeah, it's not like back then when we had what was it, Dennis Rodman
yeah.
and
You
Carl
guys remember Karl
Malone
Malone? Yeah,
and David Arquette winning the championship. Like it wasn't like back then, thank God. But yeah, this was great. I
yeah.
enjoyed the segment.
It was still gimmicky, but the people that are doing it are taking, like you said, are taking it seriously and actually training for it and have a real love and a real passion for it versus it just being a paycheck and an opportunity to showcase themselves. So
Yeah, and Danhausen's curse lives on.
Yeah.
I think he came out too to
Well, he came,
mock.
yeah, he came back, like, after that segment and basically just told him, like, in order to reverse the curse, he has to mentor him. Like, Miz
Yeah.
has to be his mentor in order to reverse the curse.
Which I like
Uh,
this. I like
yeah.
this a lot because Miz is going to be backed into a corner to mentor him, and Miz is probably one of the perfect people to pair with Danhausen right now to get Danhausen even more over, maybe with like with the more casual fans, if you will, that live in that WWE bubble and don't understand how Danhausen works. But we'll see. I'm excited. I loved it.
Yeah, that was all good. After this, we got Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James, and this is the build up to basically Tiffany Stratton on her way out, walkout, called out Julia challenging her for the United States Championship. And this is where I'm thinking, why are we doing this to like Tiffany Stratton really has kind of established herself as this huge star. She should be in the world, the WWE women's title picture. So having her kind of take a step back now and go for a mid card title, US title is great, but it is more of a mid card title. Seems like an odd choice to have her step back into that. But obviously they need something for her to do. I can't imagine her losing to Julia. I'm assuming this is going to build till WrestleMania and they're going to face off. But in the meantime, you have to do what you got to do. You got to fight all the lackeys until you can have the final boss fight because this is how they always do this at WWE. So she competed against Kiana James, hit the prettiest moonsault for the win. You did have Chelsea Green and Alba Fire ringside because Chelsea Green's still in the wheelchair, getting taken out at one point. And then, like on the initial walkout, she like rolled up in her wheelchair, and then Tiffany Stratton just rolled her away, and you hear her like yelling as she goes
That was
off a
so
stage.
good. I loved
So
it
Chelsea Green still, even though she's injured, still contributing to from the comedic aspect to
amazingly.
this
Yes.
and doing a great job there. But all of this was fine. I was just kind of looking at it as like it feels odd for Tiffany Stratton to be putting this much effort into going for what's kind of a mid card title. That's what I would say.
I agree with that, but at the same time, it's hard to kind of put her in with everything going on already in the main card picture because I mean, honestly, you have Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill already vying for that title. That's
Yeah,
tough
which
to put
should
up
be great.
there.
It
So,
should
I
be
mean,
great, and I know they
yeah,
want to
Stephanie
keep
Bucket and
keep
Liv
her active.
Morgan. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think this is just a way to kind of. I don't think this is like a demotion for her. I think this is just I see it as they're trying to elevate the U.S. women's title because Julia doesn't defend it or do anything, and
yeah, I
I
didn't do
find
anything
I
with
find
it.
the crowd very hard, very hesitant to back Julia. Like I don't see her over with the crowd, which is terrible because Julia is an amazing wrestler. I just think it's not I don't think it's the individual. I think it's the gimmick right now that's not working, and I think they do need
Yeah,
to do something to refresh that U.S. women's title because it's kind of falling flat right now because I think
yeah,
people forget it exists and I think this is how they're going to do that, right? They're going to have Tiffany Stratton come down to elevate the title real quick, make it feel big, and then kind of like what they did with John Cena. John Cena did the same thing with the U.S.
yeah,
title.
yeah.
He had the open challenges, and look what he
He
did to
did.
it. So I think this is kind of what they're trying to do with Tiffany Stratton. She's super over with the crowd, so I think having her as U.S. champion, having her have like a nice little title reign, get some big name matches in there, I think would be good for the division and for the title. So I think this will be good because I hate that the women get bottlenecked for the world championships. And I think this would be a good way that they do it. Because of course,
Yeah,
it's gonna be just a matter of time before Chelsea Green is back in that picture as well, because she is very much tied to that US women's title. But I don't know. I just think that this is temporary, but I like this move because I think they need to do something with that title.
yeah. No, agreed. And then main event was Jacob Fatu versus Trick Williams, and this was a good match. It was really, really
It was a
fun.
great
As
match.
expected, though, like as it was going on, I thought, "Oh, we're gonna get Drew McIntyre out for
Yep.
interference." Like it occurred to me as it was happening because I was like, "Who are they gonna put over each other? Probably no one." And then I was like, "That's just where he's gonna reemerge," and he did. He reemerged, of course, attacking Jacob outside of the ring. For like 15 seconds, and the ref didn't see any of it. Which there was a moment where I was like, "Oh, the ref's going to call for a DQ," and they're like, the ref didn't see any of it. I was like, what was the ref doing? Like, how did the ref not hear this or hear the crowd reacting? Because it went on for way too long for him to not turn around and go, oh, wait a sec. Like, where did Jacob go? So, ref somehow missed all of this. He beat him up, threw him back in the ring. Trick Williams hit the trick shot, got the win. After this, Drew got in and hit him with a claymore, just to the exclamation point. So, he didn't really quit. And obviously, they will be facing each other at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I do want to touch a little bit too. Trick Williams is still being built up eventually for the main title, and I like how backstage Sami Zayn tried to mock Trick Williams a little bit, and Trick Williams kind of just got the better of him, calling him Mister Can't Get It Done. pointing
Yeah.
out that he talks big but keeps getting dropped. And of course, he told Sami Zayn, he says if he had a match tonight, otherwise he'd take him down. And so, of course, that's just gonna obviously build up to Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, which would be a good placeholder for Trick, and I think he will win that one, obviously, but because it's
Yeah.
the continuing downfall of Sami Zayn. So,
Same as saying.
but I think this is interesting because it should build. I don't know if it's gonna be a WrestleMania feud, but it'll be something. I know Sami Zayn's been floating around without a clear path to Mania, and Trick Williams
Yeah.
does need an opponent at the same level to kind of cement him as that. So I don't know. I think that might be where they go, but who knows?
Yeah, it might be. And then, so that was our main event, but the real main event was the contract signing between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton, which is what closed out the show. And the big thing here was, as we mentioned earlier, that I'll call it the supposed heel turn for Randy. So they were doing the signing, and Randy was somewhat hesitant, and then Cody got on the mic and essentially said, like, "Hey, I know you're going to listen to the voices in your head, and I know that you're going to give me everything that you got. You're not going to show any mercy, and you're going to do this and that. And like, it's okay. You know, at the end of like when it's all over with, like, I still love you, man." This kind of what it was like. And he was like, okay, signed it, and then hit his head into the table and then kicked him in the balls and then just started beating the crap out of him. Hit him with the steel steps, which he looked like it hit him on the shoulder, and he obviously did a blade job because did something because he hit him with the shoulder and he kind of fell down and then popped up and he was covered in blood. So Cody got beat up. Nick Aldis came out. He got shoved down. Security came out. Jelly Roll came out, and I think that was really where they were trying to like cement he's a heel because Jelly Roll came out to stop him because they had talked earlier backstage, and he was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, you're my brother," and he shoved Jelly Roll down, but kind of looked like, "Oh, I didn't know it was you." Kind of had this weird reaction when he did it. Then once he had left, came back, and I'll say he hit the steel steps with the chair because Cody was like sitting in between the steel steps, and it made for a cool visual, and it was
Yeah,
super loud, but he
the
clearly
angle
just
was
hit the
great.
steps.
Yeah,
The angle was great, and he clearly just hit the steps with it. But like destroyed and bloodied him, and this was done as like the big heel turn. The crowd didn't really see it that way. The crowd was chanting for Randy the entire time, especially like as we were going off air, and they were like, he's like devastated. You hear the crowd going, "Randy, Randy,
yeah,
Randy," and I'm like, this I don't. This didn't. They didn't have the reaction that they thought they would, as I
no,
would say, because they really went all in to try to say he's bad, Cody's good. And I think we had talked about like who was going to be the face and who's going to be the heels in the lead up to this
yeah,
because they were both faces. They doubled down on Orton, but the crowd ate it up. So where do we
yeah.
go from here?
I mean, so of course, Randy Orton turning heel is the correct call in this instance. I feel
Right.
just because it's more credible because Randy Orton has a tendency to he's already done heelish stuff before,
Yeah.
but Cody has been doing way more heel stuff. And so
Totally.
my thought is it's funny because I was kind of reading into like some of the other outlets like Cage Side Seats, Yahoo Sports, Wrestling Inc., all that stuff, and they're all kind of saying the same thing, like maybe WWE accidentally exposed that Cody is the wrong choice
Yeah.
as the company's top baby face, because if he was the top baby face, Orton would have gotten booed. Any good heel would have been, well, not good heel, I'm sorry. Any heel turn on a true baby face would get booed massively.
Yeah.
And
Of course.
that's just the way it goes, right? But it's because I don't it's funny because Randy Orton's getting cheered and everyone's happy for that. And I know you can't build a main event with two baby faces for Mania. One has to turn. Cody's merchandise numbers obviously are what's protecting him from going heel because his merch is so valuable. But after Randy Orton bloodied him and tore him up, the crowd cheering, that's now a problem for WWE because they have to navigate that. Or Randy Orton's character is built on predictability, so the turn isn't. I mean, we're not fully surprised that he turned heel because, like I said,
Yeah.
that's the degree of brutality. I loved it because it brought me back to like the Attitude Era, and that's how they
Yeah.
used to do things. And of course, the image of Randy Orton sitting with the belt on his lap. I think that was. I
Yeah. That was
loved
cool.
that visual, and I really wanted to touch on that because it's his obsession that he says, I have to get that. I have to get it. It's part of cementing his legacy. And him just sitting there shows like the obsession. And he's just like looking at it and he's just like sitting there with it. And that to me is that was a great visual. Of course, the Jelly Roll shove was a bonus
Yeah.
for the celebrity appearance. Of course, foreshadowing that obviously Jelly Roll's going to be there at Mania and involved in some way or another. But it kind of, I feel like kind of closes the show with high energy and kind of like a nice cliffhanger to see what's going to happen. What's Cody going to say? Now, I will also say that this could also be a way for Cody to eventually turn heel as well, because after the match, because let's just say he loses, right? And he loses the title to Randy. Randy wins, and now Cody Rhodes like, I've been this face for so long, and now what's gonna happen? What this did me nothing. It did nothing for me, and maybe it'll kind of get him out of frustration to turn heel. I hope.
Yeah.
I think Cody should have been the one to turn heel. And at the end of the day, my defense for Randy Orton, Cody asked for it. He said, "I want that Randy," and Randy's just like, "Okay,
Okay. Yeah. Randy
say
obliged
less."
him.
He's
But
like,
yeah,
"I got you."
well, and this is where I like when I was watching it, I'm like, none of this is out of character for Randy Orton at all. So that's why I don't really consider it to be a turn of any kind. I'm like, Randy Orton's been doing this sort of thing for months and months and months. He's always been kind of like that anti-hero that's going to do whatever he wants. And he did say, I want, like you said, he said, I want the Orton. I want the legend killer. He's like really had made no bones about it. And he got exactly what he asked for, and so be it. I do think that Cody should have been the one to turn heel, and I hope he will. I hope they'll do at WrestleMania. They'll do like the heel. They'll do the double turn, and we'll see that moment where he becomes the heel, and the Randy Orton really is just kind of being himself, which was a face all along that just kind of did whatever he wanted to, and that we'll get that at WrestleMania. I hope Orton wins. I don't know that he will, just because they just put the title on Cody. So it'd be interesting if they took it off him that quickly again. But also going back to what I said before, it feels like there's for some reason more notoriety in how many title reigns you've had. And so they're trying to catch up Cody and be like, we got to get him to like 14, 15 title reigns. So you're going to have to drop titles quickly and pick them back up again for him to do that at his stage in his career. So maybe they might,
Yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see how this continues to morph. I enjoy like legend killer heel version of Randy, so I'll take it at this point. I think it's going to be fun no matter what. But I was hoping that Cody was going to get his like full heel turn, but there's still time for that. We'll see how
yeah,
it plays out.
plenty of
And
time.
with him, and he's been doing heel stuff for like the last year too.
Yeah,
So I think way more so than Randy Orton has. So there's still a door open there. But
yeah, yep.
But yeah,
I
that's how
agree.
SmackDown ended. Eventful couple of shows. Brock Lesnar's on Monday night, so that'll be eventful as well, as we are on the fast track to WrestleMania, trying to fill out the rest of that card. So looking forward to it. But that's what we got for this week, and we'll be back next week with all the highlights and shenanigans. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, whether you agree with us, disagree with us, or just want to talk about wrestling. We always love to hear from all of you. Let us know what you think about the Randy Orton heel turn. Should it have been Cody? Did you enjoy it? Or whatever else happened on the show that you wanted to comment on. We always love to hear from you. But that's what we got for this week, everyone. I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been El Comandante Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everyone.